There are some sounds that should never be heard after midnight. Footsteps in an empty hallway, a door slowly opening, a voice calling your name when no one is there. If you are hearing this story late at night, pause for a moment and listen carefully. If your surroundings suddenly feel quieter than usual, you are not alone. In a forgotten part of the city stands a building with no address, no signboard, no history. People pass by it every day, yet no one remembers seeing it before. Those who enter the building claim it feels warm, welcoming, until they realize there are no reflections in the mirrors. A 14-year-old child went missing near that place. Security cameras captured the child entering the building, but not a single frame showed them leaving. The strange part was not the disappearance. It was the final footage, where the child slowly turned toward the camera and smiled despite crying moments earlier.
Some calls are never meant to be answered. A phone ringing at 3:17 a.m., an unknown number, a silence that feels heavier than words. If this has ever happened to you, understand one thing. Something was trying to reach you. There is an apartment building that does not appear on any map. Every night, lights turn on inside rooms that no one officially lives in. People who pass by say the air around it feels wrong, as if the building itself is watching. One night, a security guard entered after receiving repeated calls from inside. His radio recorded only breathing at first, then a child's voice whispering, "Why did you leave me?" He never returned. Since then, phones in the area ring at the same hour. When answered, people hear their own voice speaking words they have not yet said. Those who listen too long are never seen again.
There is a room that only appears at night. It has no number on the door, no windows, and no light switch. People who enter say it feels familiar, as if they have been there before, long ago. A 14-year-old child was last seen walking into that room. The security cameras showed the door opening on its own. When it closed, the child was gone. The room remained. Since that night, residents hear knocking from inside their walls. Slow, careful, always at the same time, 3:33 a.m. When someone knocks back, the sound stops forever. If you ever hear knocking from a place where no door exists, do not respond. Whatever is trapped inside is not trying to escape. It is waiting for permission.
Every night at exactly 2:46 a.m., the same notification appears on phones across the town. No sender, no message, just a vibration that lasts 3 seconds. Those who ignore it continue sleeping. Those who open it never wake up the same. A teenager was the first to check the notification. The next morning, the mirrors in their house no longer showed a reflection. By the third night, their name began appearing on other people's phones, sent from no account. Now the notification is spreading. Faster, smarter. It does not need internet. It only needs attention. If your phone vibrates while you are watching this video, do not unlock it. Some messages are not meant to be read. They are meant to be answered.
There is a face that appears in the darkness just before you fall asleep. It does not move. It does not blink. Most people think it is imagination until it starts appearing earlier every night. A child once described the face to their parents in perfect detail. That night, every mirror in the house cracked at the same time. By morning, the child could no longer remember their own reflection. Now, the face is spreading. People see it on turned off screens, in windows, in the corners of rooms where lights should exist. It gets closer each time you notice it. If you feel watched while listening to this, do not search the shadows. It is already where you are looking from.
Every house has a sound it should never make. A child laughing in an empty room. Footsteps above you when no one is home. For one family, it was the sound of breathing coming from inside the closet. At first, it only happened at night, soft, careful, as if something was learning how to breathe like a human. When the closet door was open, nothing was ever inside, except the smell of cold air. The breathing grew louder each night, closer to the door. On the 7th night, it stopped completely. That was the night the family disappeared, leaving the closet door wide open. If you hear breathing where no one should be, do not open the door. It is already outside.
There is a shadow that does not belong to anything. It appears under streetlights, inside empty rooms, and sometimes behind you, without a source. A man once tried to follow it. Each step he took, the shadow grew longer, darker, closer. When he finally turned around, his own shadow was gone. Since that night, people report seeing an extra shadow wherever they stand. It moves a moment late. It copies them imperfectly. If you notice your shadow lag behind your movements, do not look at it too long. It is still learning how to replace you.
There is a sound that follows you, even in complete silence. A soft tapping on your window, footsteps behind your door, or the faint rustle of clothes when no one is there. At first, it is subtle, harmless, but it never stops. A young woman once tried to ignore it. Every night, the tapping grew louder, closer, until it was in her room. She never saw anyone. She only heard her own heartbeat synchronize with the sound. On the 7th night, the tapping stopped. She disappeared without a trace. Now, some say if you hear tapping where nothing exists, it is not trying to scare you. It is trying to take your place. If the sound comes for you, do not respond. Do not move. It is already inside.
There is a house that no one remembers building. It appears at the end of roads that lead nowhere. People who enter say it looks normal at first, until they notice photographs. Every picture shows someone they know, sitting inside the house, smiling, even though they have never been there. A man once spent the night inside, thinking it was abandoned. By morning, the photographs had changed. His own face stared back at him from every wall. He was gone shortly after, leaving the house exactly as it had been, waiting for the next visitor. If you ever see a house on a road you do not recognize, do not approach it. Some doors should never be opened, and some walls should never be stared at, because once it sees you, it never forgets.
There is a mirror that shows more than your reflection. It appears ordinary until you notice something wrong. Your reflection moves slower than you do. Some say if you stare too long, it reaches out from the other side. A teenager once laughed at the idea. That night, the reflection smiled when they did not. By morning, the mirror was cracked, and the teenager was gone. Only their reflection remained, frozen in a silent scream. If you ever see your reflection hesitate, do not touch the glass. Some images are not meant to stay behind the mirror, because whatever waits there is already awake.
There is a hallway that appears in homes where no hall should exist. It is narrow, dark, and silent, yet some say they hear whispers from the end. People who walk down it report seeing doors that lead nowhere, and shadows that move against the light. A man once followed the hallway, curious. Each step felt heavier, colder. When he reached the end, the whispers grew louder, repeating his name. He never came back. Now, the hallway only appears at night, waiting for the next person brave enough to enter. If a hallway appears where there should be none, do not walk toward it. Some paths are not meant to be taken, because the end is already behind you.
There is a song that plays only in empty rooms. No one knows who sings it, and no one ever hears it outside. Those who listen too long report a cold presence sitting beside them, breathing in rhythm with the melody. A teenager once tried to record it. When they played it back, the voice was different, closer, whispering their own secrets. That night, the room went silent, and the teenager was gone. The song continues, waiting for someone else to hear it. If music starts in a place where no sound should exist, do not move closer. Some tunes are not meant to be finished. They are meant to take you with them.
There is a phone app that should not exist. No one remembers downloading it, yet it appears on every device. It shows a timer counting down from an unknown number of hours, minutes, and seconds. Some say the timer matches your life. A man once stared at it too long. When the timer hit 0, his reflection in the phone screen moved independently. By morning, he was gone, and the phone displayed only a new timer, counting down for someone else. If you ever see a timer like this on your device, do not touch it. Some apps do not want to be opened. They want to choose who disappears next. There is a small town no one talks about after dark. At the edge of the forest stands an old abandoned cabin, hidden beneath twisted trees and creeping fog. Locals say it wasn't always there. Some claim it appears only to those who are lost, guiding them inside with a faint light in the window. A young man once wandered near the cabin during a storm. Thunder rattled the sky and rain soaked him to the bone, but the warm glow from inside drew him closer. The door creaked open before he touched it. Inside, the air was still, unnaturally warm and silent, but for the faintest sound of someone breathing. The young man turned to leave, but the door slammed shut. The mirrors began to fog, and whispers filled the room, soft, urgent, calling his name.
There is an old lighthouse on the cliff that no one dares to visit. Its paint is peeling, its windows shattered, yet at night, a light shines from its top. Even though it has been abandoned for decades, locals whisper that the light is not meant to guide ships. It is meant to watch. A young man, curious and fearless, decided to climb the lighthouse one stormy night. The wind howled around him. The waves crashed violently against the rocks below. Yet the light above remained steady. Inside, the stairs were narrow and slick with dampness. Every step echoed unnaturally, as if someone, or something was climbing behind him. When he reached the top, the view was unlike anything he expected. The ocean below reflected not the stormy sky, but thousands of faces staring up at him. Faces he recognized, missing people from the town over the years. As he stepped closer to the light, a cold hand gripped his shoulder.
There is a forest on the outskirts of the town that no one enters after dusk. Travelers say the trees are unnaturally tall, their branches twisting like fingers. The shadows move even when the wind is still. But the most terrifying part is the silence. Complete suffocating, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. One night, a hiker ignored the warnings and ventured in. At first, it was just the crunch of leaves beneath his feet and the occasional rustle of an animal. But soon, he noticed figures among the trees, thin, pale, with hollow eyes, standing perfectly still, watching him. Whenever he turned, they vanished, only to reappear a few steps ahead, keeping pace silently. As he pressed on, the path seemed to stretch endlessly. Every tree looked the same, every shadow followed him. Then he heard whispers, soft, desperate, repeating his name. The hiker ran, but the forest had already trapped him. By the time the sun rose, he was gone.
There is an old train station on the outskirts of town that has not been in use for decades. Its platforms are cracked, the benches rotting, and the tracks twisted and overgrown. Yet at night, the station comes alive. Lights flicker, a distant whistle blows, and a train arrives that no one else can see. A young man, curious and alone, stepped onto the platform one foggy night. The train appeared silently, black and gleaming with empty carriages. The doors opened on their own, inviting him inside. Once aboard, he noticed the seats were filled, not with people, but with shadows, each one shifting and whispering in voices he recognized. They repeated his deepest fears, his secrets, until he could no longer tell if the whispers were outside or inside his mind. When the train began to move, he realized it had no destination, only an endless stretch of darkness outside the windows. He tried to run, but the doors would not open.
There is a hotel at the edge of town that never appears on maps. Travelers who stay there say the lobby is warm and inviting, but the hallways are cold and the air smells faintly of something rotten. Every night, the clocks stop at 2:12 a.m., and strange noises echo through the corridors. Footsteps, whispers, and the soft creak of doors opening and closing. A woman once checked in, thinking it was just another abandoned place. Her room was small with a window overlooking nothing but darkness. As she tried to sleep, she heard scratching at the walls, soft at first, then frantic. When she turned on the light, shadows moved along the ceiling, forming shapes that resembled her worst fears. She ran to the door, but the hallway stretched endlessly, twisting impossibly. She screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the silence of the hotel. By morning, the hotel appeared deserted. The front desk was empty, the chairs dusted, the clocks frozen at 2:12 a.m.